Bjorn Ironside, the Viking who conquered the Mediterranean. Bjorn Ironside is remembered as one of the greatest Viking explorers in history. While many Viking leaders focus on conquest in northern Europe, Bjorn pushed Viking expansion far beyond its expected boundaries. His story represents ambition, exploration, and the transformation of Vikings from raiders into rulers. Yet, like many figures of the Viking Age, Bjorn's life exists somewhere between historical fact and legend. Bjorn Ironside appears in Norse sagas as the son of Ragnar Lothbrok, but his existence is also supported by historical accounts describing Viking leaders operating across Western Europe and the Mediterranean. Unlike some saga figures, Bjorn's activities align closely with real events recorded by Frankish and Arab sources. This makes him one of the more historically credible sons of Ragnar. In the mid-9th century, Bjorn is believed to have led a massive Viking expedition southward. Instead of raiding only England or France, Bjorn's fleet sailed through the Strait of Gibraltar and entered the Mediterranean Sea. This alone was extraordinary. At the time, Vikings were largely unknown in this region. Bjorn's forces attacked coastal cities in what is now Spain, southern France, and Italy. Some sources even suggest Viking ships reached North Africa, though this remains debated. One of the most famous stories associated with Bjorn involves a raid on the Italian city of Luna. According to medieval accounts, Bjorn tricked the city's defenders by pretending to be dead and requesting burial inside the city. Once inside, Viking warriors emerged and opened the gates. While historians debate the accuracy of this story, similar tactics were used in medieval warfare, suggesting the account may be exaggerated but rooted in reality. After years of raiding and exploration, Bjorn returned to Scandinavia with immense wealth and experience. The tale of the raid on Luna, however, might be a case of mistaken identity or composite legend. Some historians suggest the story was originally attributed to another Viking chieftain, Hastings, who was Bjorn's mentor or partner in the Mediterranean expedition. The chronicles of the time were not always precise, and sagas often blended the deeds of several historical figures into one larger-than-life hero. This blending of identities is common in Viking sagas. The goal was to create a compelling narrative, not a dry historical record. So, while Bjorn likely raided in Italy, the specific, cunning trick of feigning death might have been a dramatic embellishment added later to enhance his legendary status. The Mediterranean expedition was not just about plunder. It was a journey of discovery that brought the Vikings into contact with the powerful and sophisticated Islamic civilizations of the Iberian Peninsula, known as Al-Andalus. The Vikings were both feared and, in a way, respected for their maritime prowess. Arab chroniclers of the time described them as mages, a term for fire worshippers or pagans, and documented their raids with a mixture of horror and fascination. These encounters were not one-sided. The Vikings also suffered defeats. In one notable engagement, the fleet of the Emirate of Cordoba, equipped with advanced naval technology like Greek fire, inflicted heavy losses on the Viking raiders, burning many of their ships. This forced the Vikings to adapt their tactics, highlighting that their journey through the Mediterranean was as much a learning experience as it was a series of conquests. Unlike many Viking leaders who died in battle, Bjorn is believed to have settled into kingship. He became a ruler in Sweden and is credited with founding a royal dynasty that influenced Scandinavian politics for generations. This transition from raider to king reflects a major shift in Viking society during the late Viking Age. Bjorn's nickname, Ironside, is believed to symbolize strength and resilience rather than a literal physical trait. It reflects how he was remembered by later generations as a warrior who survived countless campaigns and returned victorious. Unlike his brother Ivar, Bjorn is rarely described as cruel or ruthless. Instead, he is portrayed as ambitious, strategic, and adaptable. Bjorn Ironside is believed to have died peacefully, an unusual fate for a Viking leader of his stature. His burial site is traditionally linked to Munsten, Sweden, where a large mound still stands. Whether or not this is truly Bjorn's grave remains uncertain, but it reinforces his legacy as a king rather than a fallen warrior. What makes Bjorn Ironside so fascinating is how his story represents the Viking Age at its most expansive. He pushed Viking influence into new regions, connected Scandinavia to the Mediterranean world, and helped redefine what it meant to be a Viking leader. While some details of his life may be exaggerated, Bjorn's impact on history is undeniable. Bjorn Ironside stands as one of the most successful Viking explorers ever recorded. Warrior, raider, king, and legend. He helped carry Viking influence far beyond the north, And like many figures of the Viking Age, the full truth of his life may never be known.